Hey, if you're brand new to WordPress and feeling a little overwhelmed by the tech side of things, don't worry because this tutorial has got you covered. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to set up your blog using UltaHost's managed WordPress hosting. We're going to cover everything from choosing your hosting plan, connecting your domain, and securing your site with an SSL certificate to installing WordPress, picking a theme, customizing the layout, and publishing your very first blog post. And whether you're starting a personal blog, a niche website, or building an online brand, this guide will help you launch a WordPress blog even if you're not tech savvy. And real quick, before we get started, if you get any value out of this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to the Blog with Ben YouTube channel. Helps me bring you more resources, and it keeps you up to date with all of the AI, web, and tech trends happening throughout the year. But either way, thank you so much for all your support. All right, with that being said, let's get started. Okay, first things first, head over to UltaHost. You could get there by visiting the link in the video description below, and clicking that link will take you to the homepage that you're looking at right now. And here you could explore all of the hosting options, but in this video, we're gonna focus specifically on WordPress hosting, which is tailored for bloggers. So to get there, go ahead and hover your mouse over hosting in the menu at the top of the screen, and then click on WordPress hosting. This will take you to the WordPress hosting homepage where you can get a better idea of what's offered and the plans available. And speaking of that, let's take a quick look at the different plan options. So here you'll see four main choices: Ulta WordPress, WordPress Starter, Business WordPress, and VPS WordPress. Each one is designed for different needs depending on your traffic and site complexity. For new bloggers, the Ulta WordPress plan is a great starting point. It's the most affordable and ideal for launching your very first blog. And speaking of pricing, UltaHost gives you some flexibility here. At the top, you'll notice the toggle where you could switch between monthly, yearly, 2-year, and 3-year billing options. The longer the term, the bigger the discount. But if you're not ready to commit long term, no worries. You could choose monthly billing, which is exactly what I'm going to do in this demo. And with monthly selected, the Ulta WordPress plan is just $3.50 per month, making it super budget friendly. And once you've decided on your plan, go ahead and click the order button underneath the plan that you want. And next you'll be taken to the domain setup screen. Here you'll need to decide how you want to handle your domain. And you have three options: register a new domain, transfer your domain from another registrar, or use an existing domain and update your name servers. In this example, I'm going to register a brand new domain. So I'll leave that first option selected, and then below that, type in the domain name that you want to use. And then make sure the extension is set to .com or whatever you prefer. And then click the check button. UltaHost will then search to see if the domain is available. And if it is, you'll see a green message that says the domain is available along with the price. And in this case, the domain is available for $13.99 for the entire year. Perfect. So go ahead and click Add to Cart to claim it, and then hit Continue to move forward with the setup. Okay, once you've added your hosting plan and domain to the cart, you'll land on the configuration page. And here you'll get a full overview of what's included in the plan that you selected. And since we're using the Ulta WordPress plan, you'll see that it includes one website, 30 gigabytes of SSD storage, which is really good, 10,000 monthly visits, again, really good for a starter plan, unlimited bandwidth, a free WordPress manager, one email account, and even a free SSL certificate, which is also great because we'll get that set up a little later on in the tutorial. Then just below that, you'll be asked to select your billing cycle again. And if you didn't already choose monthly earlier, you could do so here. Again, in this demo, I'm sticking with the $3.50 per month plan, but if you change your mind, you can update that here. Then on the right-hand side, you'll also see an order summary confirming your selection and showing what you owe. Next, if you scroll down a bit, you'll be asked to choose a server location. This is where your website will be hosted physically. So try to pick a location that's closest to your target audience. In my case, I'm going with Los Angeles, USA, since I'm in Southern California at the moment, but you could choose whichever makes the most sense for your blog's visitors. Below that, you'll see the installation app section. This is where UltaHost lets you determine the version of WordPress that will be installed with the WordPress manager. It's already selected by default, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So you can go ahead and leave that as is and move on. And scrolling down again, let's talk about add-ons. So UltaHost gives you a bunch of optional add-ons like premium SSL certificates, email security, site backups, and SEO tools. Personally, I'm going to skip all of these for now because the hosting plan we selected already comes with the free SSL certificate, and we'll walk through how to activate that a little later on in the video. But if you want to add any extras, you could do so here. And then scrolling down again, we have some even more extras that are all really helpful with most use cases. And it's totally optional, but again, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just leaving everything set to none. Okay, once you've made your selections, go ahead and click Continue. And this will take you to the domain configuration screen. This is just a final step to confirm your domain name settings before checkout. So here you could choose whether or not to add ID protection for your domain. This is a privacy feature that keeps your personal information like your name, phone, email, and address from being publicly visible in the domain registry. I highly recommend checking this box. It only costs a few bucks and it helps protect your personal info. Then below that, make sure your ID and language is set to English or whatever applies to your region. And then once it's filled out, click Continue again to move on to the checkout stage. Okay, once you've finished configuring your hosting and domain settings, you'll land on the review and checkout screen. This is where you'll want to take a moment to go over your order one last time before making the purchase. At the top, you'll see a summary of everything in your cart. You'll notice the WordPress hosting Ulta WordPress plan, which is billed at only $3.50 per month. And below that, the domain registration, which comes out to $18.99 per year, because I also selected the ID protection that's reflected in the domain as well. Then over on the right-hand side, you'll see the order summary. It breaks everything down by subtotal, monthly, and annual costs. It includes a small gateway processing fee, and in this example, the total due today is only $23.16. And if you have a promo code, this is where you can enter it and apply a discount. Depending on when you're watching this video, I may have a promo code in the video description below, so keep an eye out for that. And then scrolling down a little more, next, you'll create your UltaHost account. Now, if you already have an account, you can log in at the top, but if this is your first time using UltaHost, make sure Create a New Account is selected, and then you have a couple options as to how to do that. You can either create your account by connecting a Facebook, GitHub, or Google account, or you could select to enter your personal information, like your first name, last name, email address, and phone number, and once that's filled out, and then below that, you'll enter your billing address as well as create a password for the account. And you could also hit the generate password and that will create a strong password for you. Then underneath that is the domain registrant information section. Unless you're buying the domain on behalf of someone else, you can leave this set to use default contact info details above and move on. Okay, next is the payment method section. UltaHost gives you a bunch of different ways to pay: credit card or debit card, PayPal, crypto, bank transfer, and more. I'm using a credit card via Stripe, so I'll enter my card number, expiration date, security code, all that good stuff. And there's also an optional field if you want to name the card for future reference. But if you have any special instructions or notes for UltaHost, you can drop those in the additional notes section at the bottom. Okay, then once everything is filled out, take one last look at the order summary on the right side. And if everything looks good, go ahead and click the checkout button to complete your purchase. And then after a few seconds, you'll see the order confirmation screen and you'll get an order number, and you'll also be able to access your dashboard by clicking Continue to Client area. So let's go ahead and do that and click that button. And that will take you to your UltaHost account dashboard. This is where you'll manage your account, build your site, set up email, etc. But before we do any of that, let me give you a quick tour of this dashboard. Welcome to the UltaHost dashboard. This is the central hub where you can manage your hosting, domains, create support tickets, manage your billing, and more. And let me give you a quick tour since we're here. In the center of the dashboard, you'll see a high-level overview of your account. This includes how many services, domains, and support tickets are active, along with any unpaid invoices. These tiles make it easy to stay on top of everything. Just below that, you'll see a section labeled Your Active Products/Services. In this case, we could see the WordPress hosting Ulta WordPress plan that I just purchased, and it's now live and marked as active. And if you want to manage this service, just click the Manage button to access hosting specific settings, which we'll get into in the next part of this tutorial. On the left-hand side, you'll see the main navigation panel. This menu gives you quick access to all the essential areas of your account, like domains, services, billing, website and security, support, and even your affiliate dashboard if you decide to refer offers to UltaHost. This section is your account profile sidebar. It gives you quick access to your personal account information, support tools, and key shortcuts. At the top there, you'll find your support PIN, which is a temporary code used to verify your identity when contacting UltaHost support. Beneath that is your account profile panel, where your name and email will appear. I've blurred it out for privacy reasons, but you can click Update to edit those contact details or log out to sign out of your account. Below that, there's a contacts section. This is where you can add or manage additional contacts associated with your account. Helpful if you have team members or a developer who needs access. And then the last part of that sidebar is the shortcuts section, and this offers one-click links to common actions like ordering new services, registering a new domain, or logging out quickly. It's a streamlined hub designed to make account management faster and easier. Then this section is for recent support tickets, as well as options to open a new ticket if you ever need help. Right next to that is a shortcut to register a new domain or transfer an existing one. Plus, right below that, you'll see recent news and updates from the UltaHost team. Finally, in the top right corner of the screen, you've got your notifications, shopping cart, and account drop-down menu. And then in the bottom right corner, you'll see the Talk to Us button, which opens live chat support if you ever need quick assistance. Overall, this dashboard is clean, intuitive, and puts everything you need to manage your blog in one place. All right, up next, let's verify your domain and set up the SSL certificate. Now that you've successfully set up your hosting and logged into your dashboard, there are a couple of important follow-up steps that you need to take, starting with domain verification and setting up your SSL certificate. So shortly after purchasing your domain, usually within the first 15 minutes, you'll receive an email from UltaHost or their domain registrar partner, and it'll be titled Validation of Contact Required or something similar to that, and it's essential that you open it, and this will be sent to the email that you signed up with. Now, if you don't see it right away, make sure to check your spam or your junk folders or even your promotions folder. But this email includes a link to verify the contact information associated with your domain registration, and you'll need to click that link. And then here you'll review your details and confirm that everything is accurate. And then once you've done that, select Yes, I want to authorize contact, and click the Send button. And in a few seconds, it should be verified. This is a critical step. If you skip domain verification, your domain will be deactivated and stop working. So definitely don't overlook this step. Okay, once your domain is verified, the next thing we want to do is activate the SSL certificate that came free with your UltaHost WordPress hosting plan. SSL is what secures your website and enables the HTTPS prefix, which is vital for trust and SEO. It protects your visitors' data, helps you appear more professional, and can even boost your rankings in Google. So to get started, go back to your UltaHost dashboard, and under your active product/services, click the Manage button next to your hosting plan. And this will take you to the product details page. Then scroll down until you see the cPanel icon, and then go ahead and click on that. This will open your cPanel, and cPanel is a web-based control panel that gives you full access to manage your website and hosting features. It's included with most hosting plans, including UltaHost, and serves as the behind-the-scenes control hub for your site. I know it looks like a lot if you're brand new, but once you know your way around, you'll be a pro in no time. Okay, to activate the Auto SSL, towards the right where it shows your primary domain, you'll see a button that says SSL/TLS status. Click on that to open the SSL management screen. From here, you'll see a list of all subdomains and services associated with your domain. If your SSL hasn't been issued yet, you'll likely see a red padlock icon. That just means it hasn't been secured by Auto SSL yet. Then at the top of the screen, you'll see a button that says Run Auto SSL. Before you click it, make sure your primary domain and all related entries are all selected in that list. So check that top box and that will check all of them. And then once they're all selected, click the Run Auto SSL button. This will initiate the process of issuing and installing your SSL certificate. Now you'll need to give it a few moments to finish, and I'm going to fast forward through this really quick, but it usually takes a minute or so. And once it's done, the red padlocks will turn into green locks, and your domain will now begin with HTTPS instead of HTTP, ensuring that you now have a proper SSL certificate. And that's it. Your site is now secured and verified, which is a major step in building trust with your audience. All right, moving on. In the next part of the tutorial, I'm going to show you how to install and access WordPress so you could start customizing your blog. Now that we've covered the dashboard and SSL setup, let's walk through installing WordPress. And there are a few ways to go about this, but for this tutorial, we're going to install WordPress via the cPanel. So first, head to your product details page if you're not there already, and scroll down and click the cPanel icon under the Manage Account section. And then inside the cPanel, look to the left-hand sidebar this time and find WordPress Manager by Softaculous, and click that to begin the installation process. Next, here is where we start configuring your WordPress installation. So to get started, click the blue Install button, and this will open up the setup screen. So the first thing we want to do under the software setup section, make sure your protocol is set to HTTPS and your domain is properly selected from that drop down. And then here's an important step. Leave the in directory field blank. If you see anything there, I recommend deleting it if you're installing WordPress on your primary domain. This ensures that WordPress is installed directly to your main domain and not into a subfolder. So again, make sure this field is blank if you just want to install WordPress on your primary domain. Then the drop-down labeled Choose the version you want to install is where you select which version of WordPress you'd like to install on your site. In most cases, you'll want to go with the latest stable version listed, like version 6.7.2 in this example, so you have the most up-to-date features and security fixes. However, Softaculous gives you the flexibility to install an older version if needed, which can be helpful for specific plugins or compatibility reasons. For beginners and most users, stick with the newest version unless you have a specific reason not to. Next, you have the option to fill out your site settings. You can change the site name and description here, but you can also do it later within your WordPress dashboard. So don't worry too much about these fields, but for now, you can just use placeholders if needed. Then towards the bottom there, you'll see two checkboxes. The first one, Enable Multi-Site, WPMU. Checking this means you're turning your WordPress installation into a network, and this means you can manage multiple websites under one WordPress dashboard. This is especially useful if you're building out a network of blogs, like a main site with several subsites for different categories, clients, or use cases. But for most bloggers just getting started, you can leave this unchecked. Below that, you'll see Disable WordPress cron. By default, WordPress uses something called WP cron to handle scheduled tasks like checking for updates or publishing scheduled blog posts. Disabling this means you'll be turning off that default behavior so you could set up a real cron job through your hosting account. This can boost performance, especially on high traffic sites, but again, if you're just starting out, it's totally fine to leave these unchecked too. You can always come back to them later as your blog grows. Moving over to the admin accounts section, this is where you're going to be creating your login credentials for your WordPress account. And again, you'll be the admin user, so you'll want to be sure to create a strong username and password combination, as well as an email that you check regularly. This is how you'll reset your login info if needed. Next, you'll see a list of plugins that come pre-selected. UltaHost includes several pro plugins at no extra cost to you, which is a nice bonus for speed, backups, and SEO. Now, you can add plugins here, but I'm going to show you how to add plugins through your WordPress dashboard as well a little later on. So don't feel like you need to add any new plugins at the moment if you don't want to. Next are the extended settings, and this is where you could choose the language you'd like your WordPress dashboard to be displayed in. By default, it's set to English, which may be good for most users, but if you're working in another language, you can easily select it from this dropdown. Okay, once everything is set to your liking, towards the bottom there, you can enter your email address so that UltaHost will send you your WordPress installation details, including your admin login URL, username, and any other important info. So I recommend entering your email address there, and then whenever you're ready, go ahead and click the blue install button. And then this is when Softaculous takes over and begins installing WordPress to your domain. And this process could take anywhere between a few seconds to a few minutes, and it looks like this got done in a few seconds, which is great. It's really important not to refresh or close the tab during this time. Just be patient and let it do its thing. And then after a few moments, whenever it's done, you'll see a success screen confirming that the software was installed, and you'll get two links. The main site URL, which is what visitors will see and use, and then the admin URL, which is where you'll log in to manage your WordPress site. In this case, it ends in /wp-admin. So anytime you want to log into your WordPress dashboard, which we're about to see, you'll use this wp-admin URL. Now, in most cases, whenever you click that admin URL, it'll take you straight to the WordPress login screen. But since we just installed WordPress through Softaculous, it opens a quick onboarding setup. Now, for this video, we're going to skip this onboarding process. So just click that no, I don't want to try an easy setup process button. And that's because I'm going to walk you through each of those steps directly from the WordPress dashboard later on in this tutorial. All right, and welcome to your WordPress dashboard. At this point, your site is live and WordPress is ready to go. However, we still have some work to do in order to publish your first blog post. So on that note, let me give you a quick tour of the WordPress backend so you'll have a better idea of where everything is before you publish your first blog post to the world. Once the WordPress installation is complete, you'll be redirected to this assistant screen powered by Softaculous. And as you can see here, whatever you have selected in the sidebar menu will display on the right-hand side of the screen. Now, this isn't the native WordPress dashboard. It's Softaculous's assistant page designed to help beginners with setup tasks like picking a theme, installing recommended plugins, or configuring your WordPress settings. It also includes some useful AI features for content assistance, so feel free to explore this whenever you have some extra time, but for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to skip it and jump straight into the WordPress backend. Okay, so let me give you a high-level overview of the WordPress dashboard. On the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see your main admin menu. This is where you'll manage everything from posts, pages, comments, themes, plugins, users, settings, and more. And as you install tools and plugins, more menu items will appear just like you see here. Then at the very top of your WordPress dashboard, you'll notice a thin horizontal bar called the Admin Toolbar. And this menu gives you quick access to helpful shortcuts like visiting your site, viewing comments, creating new content, and managing plugins or SEO tools like Site SEO or Speedy Cache as shown here. And here's something to keep in mind. This toolbar is always visible when you're logged into your WordPress account, even on the front end of your site. So if you visit your live blog to preview changes, you'll still have access to all of your admin tools without needing to jump back into the dashboard. It's a handy way to move around and manage your site on the fly. And speaking of that, if you ever want to view what your website looks like to your visitors, simply hover your mouse over the site title in the upper left corner and click Visit Site. And right now it's showing the default theme that WordPress installs automatically, 2025, and depending on when you're viewing this video, this theme may have changed, but either way, we're going to customize this theme and even explore other design options later on in the video. And then once you're done previewing the front end, you could always return to your dashboard by hovering your mouse over the site title again in the upper left corner and clicking on Dashboard. This will bring you right back to your admin area where you can keep building your blog. And on that note, let's go over some tips on how to set up your WordPress website or blog. Okay, now that WordPress is fully installed, let's move into the WordPress setup portion of this tutorial. Again, this will be a high-level overview just to get you started, but if you're looking for a more detailed walkthrough that dives deeper into setting up the back end of your site, I've linked to a full tutorial in the video description below, so be sure to check that out. Okay, first let's talk about installing and activating a new WordPress theme. From the dashboard, hover your mouse over Appearance on the left sidebar and click on Themes. This will take you to your theme management menu, and by default, WordPress comes with a few pre-installed themes like 2025, 2024, and 2023. Again, depending on when you're viewing this video, this may have changed, but you can use one of these themes or search for something that better fits your blog's vibe. So to find more theme options, click the Add New Theme button, and this will take you to the WordPress theme directory where you can explore thousands of free themes. You'll find filters at the top to help narrow things down, like popular themes, block themes, or you can even search by keyword. In the upper right corner, if you enter the keyword like kale for this example, which is a great theme for food blogs, it can narrow your search and help you find specific themes. And then once you find a theme that you like, just hover your mouse over it and you can preview it or you can install it right there. And once you click install, then you'll hit the activate button and that's it. Your new site has a new design. But just to be clear, I'm not actually installing or activating the Kale theme in this video. I'm just showing it as an example. So if you choose to install and activate Kale, the steps for customizing your theme will look different from what I'll be walking you through in this video. Just FYI. Okay, moving on. The next setup tip is to install and activate WordPress plugins. Plugins are tools that extend the functionality of your WordPress site. Everything from SEO optimization to security, backups, custom design features, and so much more. And if there's a feature you wish WordPress had, chances are there's a plugin for it. So to search for and install WordPress plugins, from your WordPress dashboard on the left-hand side of the screen, hover your mouse over Plugins and click on Installed Plugins. And this will take you to your plugin management page where you'll see all the installed plugins for your site. And you'll notice that some of them will be active and some of them will not be active. You can manage them here and go through that. We're not going to in this tutorial, but this is a great way to manage and monitor your WordPress plugins. Now, if you're using UltaHost like I am in this tutorial, you'll notice that several plugins were automatically installed for you during the WordPress installation. These include some really helpful tools, including a few pro-level plugins that come free with your hosting plan. Now, you're not required to use them, but it's worth checking them out to see if they align with your goals. At the end of the day, which plugins you use is totally up to you. That said, a quick word of caution. Installing too many plugins can slow down your site or cause conflicts between tools that don't play well together. So always be intentional about what you activate and be sure to test them as well. Okay, on that note, let me show you how to search for and install new plugins. Okay, from your plugin management page, you have a couple ways to go about this. Towards the top of the screen, you could click the Add Plugin button, or on the sidebar, you can hover your mouse over Plugins and click on Add New. This will take you to the plugin library where you can search, browse, and install plugins directly from the WordPress repository. And the quickest way to do that is to use the search bar in the upper right corner of the screen, just like we did with the themes. This is where you could type in the name of the plugin you're looking for or use a keyword. For this example, I just searched for Yoast, which is one of the most popular SEO plugins out there. And once you see the plugin you want, you'll just click that Install Now button, and WordPress will download the plugin files and get it ready to go. And then after it's installed, that same button will change to say Activate. You'll go ahead and click that too, and this will turn the plugin on and make it usable on your site. And that's it. The plugin is now active and ready to configure. You'll usually see a new menu item or a settings panel for the plugin depending on what it does, but from there you can customize its settings to match your needs. Again, I'm not going to go through the plugin configuration steps in this video, but be sure to check out my other WordPress tutorials that I've linked to in the video description below to get more in-depth looks on how to configure the Yoast SEO plugin. All right, moving on. Next, let's go over how to customize a WordPress blog's theme and make it unique. Now let's walk through how to customize your theme using the full site editor. WordPress makes it super easy to make changes to your layout and design, even if you don't have any coding experience. So to start, hover over your site title in the upper left corner of your WordPress dashboard and click Visit Site. Then once your site loads, at the top toolbar, click Edit Site, and this opens your full site editor. You'll notice a clean drag and drop interface where every element on your site, like headers, menus, and footers, is made up of blocks. This block-based system gives you complete control over how your site looks and functions. You can move things around, customize text, swap out images, and add new sections, all without writing a single line of code. The toolbar at the top and the panel on the right-hand side of the screen offer helpful tools for layout adjustments, text formatting, and color settings, and more. So let's begin with the site title at the top there. Simply click on where it says My Blog, and a formatting toolbar will appear. You could change this to something that fits your brand by simply placing your cursor in the block and typing, like AI with Ben or anything you want your visitors to associate with your blog. Just know that updating this text isn't just visual, it's also changing your site title across your entire website. That means it'll appear in your browser tabs and be used as the default title in search engine listings unless you overwrite it in an SEO plugin later on. So it's a good idea to choose something meaningful and memorable here. Next, let's change the blog heading from blog to something more personalized like the blog. I know it's not that big of a change, but again, just click on the heading and type in your preferred title. Next, let's customize the navigation menu. So clicking on the existing sample page link, you'll notice a settings panel appear on the right. Then to add a new link to the menu, click the plus icon under the page lists and choose Page Link. Then click into the new field that appears there and either select from your existing pages or paste in a custom URL. You can keep repeating this process to add more links and structure your main menu. Then as you start exploring the full site editor and your themes, you may notice that certain areas like the blog feed aren't directly editable here in the template. For example, if you try to click on the post title or the featured image for the Hello World post, you'll find that you can't change the content right here in the template view. Well, that's because this is a dynamic block pulling content from your blog posts. You're currently editing the template, which controls how your posts are displayed across the site, not the actual content within them. I know we're kind of getting the weeds here, but I just wanted to explain that. So things like this post title, excerpt, date, and featured image will need to be updated by editing the actual blog post in your WordPress dashboard. But don't worry, we'll cover exactly how to do that in just a bit. Then I'm going to kind of speed through me making edits to the remaining blog template, but hopefully you're starting to see the power of the full site editor and the blocks. And once you get used to the workflow, you can make some pretty drastic design changes and content changes in a matter of seconds. All right, once you're done customizing your blog in the full site editor, don't forget to save your changes by clicking the Save button in the upper right corner. Then click Save again. And in a few moments, you'll get a notification letting you know that the site has been updated and the changes are live. Then if you click the site icon in the upper left corner, this takes you to the full site editor template library. Inside the WordPress full site editor, templates are what control the layout and content display for different parts of your site. Each template corresponds to a specific type of page like your homepage, blog post pages, search results, and even a 404 error page. The screenshots here show the full set of default templates available in the 2025 theme. And the one we just edited earlier is called Blog Home. This template determines how your main blog feed appears when someone visits the homepage or designated blog page of your site. And by editing the Blog Home template, we changed the title and visual styling for this section of the site. That update now applies anywhere that this template is used, giving your blog homepage a more branded and polished look. Okay, then to get back to the WordPress dashboard, click the site icon in the upper left corner again. And then just for good measure, let's take a look at our updated blog template. So head to the front end of the site by hovering your mouse over your site title in the upper left corner, which you'll see has now been updated to AI with Ben instead of my blog, and then click Visit Site. And check that out. Our changes are reflecting on the live site. Even though we only made a few slight adjustments, I hope you're starting to see the power of the full site editor and how easy it is to edit your WordPress theme. On that note, let's move on and publish our very first blog post. All right, we've made it to the final part of this tutorial, how to publish a blog post in WordPress. So, starting on your homepage, you'll likely see a sample blog post titled Hello World. This is just a placeholder that WordPress adds by default anytime you set up a new site. So, let's go ahead and remove it first, and then we'll walk through how to create a brand new post from scratch. So, hover your mouse over the site title in the upper left corner of the screen and click on Dashboard to get back into the back end. And from here, hover your mouse over Posts in the sidebar and click on All Posts. Then you should see the Hello World post listed there. Go ahead and hover your mouse over it, and then you'll see several quick options appear underneath the title. Just click Trash, and that will remove this post from the site. Now let's publish a new post. So hover over Posts again, and this time select Add New Post. and this will launch the WordPress block editor. At the top, you'll want to give your post a title. Now remember, your title is going to be your blog post's headline, and crafting an attention-grabbing headline can be challenging at times, but try to keep it under 70 characters and always implement keywords within each title. Then under the title, you'll see a field that prompts you to type or choose a block. You could start writing your content directly in this space, and as you continue typing, you can hit return to create new blocks for each section. And the WordPress editor supports all kinds of content blocks, from text and headings to images, galleries, buttons, and more. And to add a new block, instead of just this paragraph block, place your cursor in the editor and click Enter on your keyboard. This creates a new line, so to speak, and then click the Add Block icon, and this opens a little pop-up menu with previously used and popular blocks. But if you click that Browse All button, you'll open the full block library where you can browse different blocks and patterns to add to your blog posts. The possibilities are really endless, but for the sake of time, I'm just keeping this post simple and using paragraph blocks of text. But either way, once you're done creating your post, next, you'll want to add a featured image. Adding a featured image to your blog post isn't just about visual flair, it plays a crucial role in branding, social sharing, and searchability. A good featured image helps grab your audience's attention on your blog's homepage, on social media platforms, and even in Google image results. It acts as the visual cover of your post and can significantly boost click-through rates. A good rule of thumb is to use images that are around 1200 by 628 pixels to ensure they display well across different size screens and platforms. So, to add a featured image in WordPress, start by making sure you're in the post editor, which obviously we are, and then on the right-hand side, you'll see the post settings panel. From here, click on Set Featured Image, and this will bring you to your media library where you could either choose a previously uploaded image or click Select Files to upload a new image from your computer, and that's what I'm going to do. And then once the image is uploaded, before inserting it into your post, take a moment to fill in the title and alt text fields in the attachment details panel. The title helps you organize your media library and it improves accessibility, while the alt text is vital for SEO and screen readers. It describes what the image is about, which not only improves your site's usability for visually impaired users, but also gives search engines more context about your content. Okay, after that's filled out, click the blue Set Featured Image button in the bottom right corner, and then you'll see your selected image now appear in the post settings area, confirming that it's been applied. This image will now show up alongside your post wherever it's previewed, like on your homepage or in social feeds. Another thing I always recommend doing for all your blog posts is assigning them to a category. Categories are an important part of organizing your blog content. They help structure your site, making it easier for both your readers and search engines to understand what your blog is about. Think of categories like the main topics or sections of your site. They're especially helpful as your content library grows. But I do want to stress that I personally always assign categories to my blog posts. And to do this, just head over to the categories panel on the right-hand sidebar, and clicking this drop-down will reveal a list of existing categories that you can choose from, and you'll also have the option to create a new category directly from here as well. And then in that field provided, type the name of your category, and for this example, it's just going to be AI. Then once that's filled out, click the Add Category button, and you'll see our new category has been added to the list. Then we'll want to uncheck the uncategorized box so that that isn't associated with this post. And there we go. We have a new category for this blog post. Categories not only help users navigate your site, but they also improve SEO by grouping related content together. This makes your blog more scannable, creates better internal linking structures, and can even increase time on site. All things that help grow your audience in the long run. All right, let's finish strong with the final step of the tutorial, publishing your blog post and making it live on your site. So once you've added your content, you've set your featured image and category, and you've made any final tweaks, it's a good idea to preview your post before publishing. You can do that by clicking this little computer screen icon in the top right corner of the editor. This gives you a chance to see exactly how the post will look on your site before publishing it. And if you select Preview a New Tab, that will open a new tab of the preview environment where you could see what your post will look like before publishing it to the world. But if everything looks good, go ahead and click the Publish button in the upper right corner. And then WordPress will double check your settings such as visibility and publishing time, and then ask you to confirm by clicking publish again. And then after you hit publish a second time, you'll see a confirmation message that your post is now live, along with a direct link to the post. You can click the View Post button to open it on the front end of your site and see it in action, complete with your featured image, blog title, and body content. And there you have it, your very first blog post published on WordPress using UltaHost. Nice work. So that's going to do it for this video. If you found it helpful, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Blog with Ben YouTube channel. Also, if you're looking to start a blog, check out these 2 videos on how to build, grow, and monetize a WordPress blog. They'll walk you through the entire process step by step. And as always, your support means a great deal to me and my family, and for that, I thank you. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.